King Charles smiled and waved to crowds this morning, a day after spending time in hospital dealing with side effects from his cancer treatment.
When a king or queen gets sick, the whole world pays attention. It's not just a private family issue. It affects everything from who will rule next to how the royal system might change. People had already been worried about the king's health, but when a Buckingham Palace guard made a surprising announcement, the spotlight turned to something even more serious. What did he say? And how bad are things at Buckingham Palace now? Join us as we unravel the shocking testimony by the Buckingham Palace Guard. Royal health and succession. The British line of succession explains who will become king or queen next. Queen Elizabeth II died on September 8, 2022, after ruling the UK for 70 years, a nearly record-breaking time. Her husband, Prince Philip, died in 2021 at the age of 99. Though he was always by her side, he was not in line to take the throne. Instead, her eldest son, Charles, became king after her death. According to the Royal Palace Guard, the next in line is his eldest son, Prince William, and then William's son, Prince George. So, when things got tense, people naturally turned their attention to Prince William. A year ago, when King Charles's health was in question, William stepped in to take on some duties, even though his wife had just had surgery. Now, once again, just hours after the king's illness was announced, William returned to royal duties. To understand, let's go back to early 2024. That's when Buckingham Palace shared surprising news. King Charles had been diagnosed with cancer during a medical checkup. At first, the public was only told that he was being treated for an enlarged prostate. The type of cancer wasn't revealed, but it was serious enough to affect the king's daily life. The king chose not to share many details about his condition. All people knew was that he was receiving treatment and would return to work when possible. Still, this announcement gave hope that everything might be okay. King Charles told both his sons, William and Harry, about the diagnosis. Around that time, William's wife was recovering from abdominal surgery. Harry, who had moved to California, spoke with his father and made plans to return to the UK quickly. Eventually, the king came back to London and continued his duties privately, such as reviewing documents and meeting people. But he stayed away from public events unless doctors said it was safe. Just in case his health got worse, backup plans were in place. In situations like this, the UK relies on counselors of state, senior royals who can act on behalf of the king. These include Queen Camilla, Prince William, Princess Anne, and Prince Edward. Prince Harry and Prince Andrew were no longer included, as they had stepped back from royal duties. At first, William paused his public appearances to be with his wife, but after the king's illness was announced, it was confirmed that William would resume his duties. This hinted that some royal responsibilities were quietly shifting. Oddly enough, just days before the news broke, King Charles looked cheerful and healthy while attending church in Sandringham. He greeted the public with a smile and wave. Not long before that, he had gone to a London hospital for what was called a benign prostate condition. Then came the unexpected. Doctors found cancer. The palace said this was a separate issue. Once the king knew, he made the news public, not just to be honest, but to raise awareness. When he was still Prince of Wales, Charles often supported cancer charities. He spoke openly about the illness, the challenges families face, and praised healthcare workers. After he revealed his own diagnosis, many men visited the NHS website to look for help, screenings, and information. The king felt proud that he was able to raise awareness. Health experts supported the king's decision to speak out. Dr. J. Verma, president of the Royal Society of Medicine, praised him for helping people understand that cancer can affect anyone. He also encouraged eligible people to get tested. Research shows that 1 in 2 people will face cancer in their lifetime. There are over 200 types of cancer, with breast, lung, prostate, and bowel cancer being the most common. Age also plays a role. People over 75 make up 40% of cancer cases in the UK. King Charles had just turned 75. After the news, UK leaders like Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle, and opposition leader Keir Starmer sent him good wishes. US President Joe Biden also wanted to speak with the king personally. Having lost his son Beau and close friend Senator John McCain to cancer, Biden understood how serious the disease can be. It had only been a little over 2 years since King Charles became king after Queen Elizabeth's death. Now his reign was filled with uncertainty. The king had to cancel important plans like the tour to Canada in May and another tour to Australia, New Zealand, and Samoa in October for the 2024 Commonwealth Summit. Still, just days after being admitted to the hospital, King Charles was seen again in public. He smiled and waved during the royal family's Christmas visit to St. Mary Magdalene Church in Sandringham. He had spent 3 nights in a London hospital for surgery. Earlier that week, Queen Camilla opened a cancer support center in London. What's the health status of King Charles? Let's find out. King Charles Health Update. It's been over a year since King Charles was diagnosed with cancer, and people around the world have followed his journey closely. The palace hasn't shared many details, but the king did mention that he lost his sense of taste while speaking to other patients. You might think that, with such a serious illness, King Charles would take a break from his royal duties. But recently, people were surprised to see how strong he still looks. At a reception at Buckingham Palace, guests, including fitness expert Joe Wicks, noticed how fit the king seemed, even after all he had been through. According to the palace guard, the king explained that staying active has always been a big part of his life. He even hinted to Olympic runner Desiree Henry in late 2024 that he exercises twice a day. Despite his age, many were amazed to learn that he still does squats using a pull-up bar. His stepson, Tom Parker Bowles, mentioned that Charles enjoys walking, and Camilla agreed, joking that he moves like a mountain goat because he walks so fast and leaves everyone behind. But as people say, time slows everyone down eventually. King Charles seems to have accepted this. He once loved horse riding, but in 2018, he shared that he had to stop due to injuries. He has also stopped skiing. Instead of doing intense activities, he now focuses on exercises that help him stay mobile and independent. Fitness experts say that exercises like pull-ups are good for keeping strong hands, healthy joints, and active muscles. All important for daily tasks. That's why it came as a surprise when the palace suddenly announced that King Charles had gone back to the hospital. Things had seemed to be improving. He had returned to his royal work after months away, appeared at public events, and updated people about his health. It felt like the country was getting back on track, with the king even smiling and waving to crowds. But then came the new press release. The king was back in the hospital for a planned checkup related to his cancer treatment. This time, the message sounded a bit more serious. The doctors said they needed to watch him closely because of some minor side effects. Still, the palace said there was nothing to worry about, and he was sent home the same day. But people noticed that his royal duties were postponed, and he was staying home more. As King Charles followed his doctor's advice and adjusted his schedule, his close team tried to stay positive. One source called it a small bump in the road, while another said the king was mostly upset about canceling a planned visit to Birmingham. Still, people outside the palace felt there was more to it. To them, it was a quiet warning. Even strong people can hide their pain. and they began to wonder if King Charles was doing the same. Their questions seemed even more valid after Prince William made a statement. The palace said the king's cancer treatment was causing side effects. During this time, Prince William stayed focused on his own work. While people wondered what he would say, William chose to show his support through action. He kept working on his Homewards UK project, which helps homeless people. During a visit to Aberdeen, he shared a message on Instagram, praising the efforts being made to support the homeless. Many people watching felt that Prince William was quietly preparing for the future, even if it's still far away. Royal experts agree that William is slowly taking on more public responsibilities to help his father. But that doesn't mean the king is planning to step down. In fact, sources say he has no intention of leaving the throne, no matter what his health is like. Royal expert Hilary Ford explained that Prince William's extra duties are just meant to ease the burden on King Charles, not to replace him. She also said the royal family is strongly against the idea of the king stepping down. This goes back to history. In 1936, King Edward VIII gave up the throne to marry Wallis Simpson, which caused a huge crisis. Since then, abdication has been considered a last resort. Before she passed away, Queen Elizabeth II taught Charles the importance of serving the public, and he has stayed committed to that, even during tough times. Ford also mentioned that William and Princess Catherine are being carefully trained for their future roles as king and queen. But for now, their main job is to support King Charles and help keep the monarchy steady and strong. Royal expert Ingrid Seward, editor of Majesty magazine, added that while Charles should let William take on more important duties, she understands why he doesn't want to stop working. She described Charles as someone who has always needed to stay busy. According to her, he probably doesn't know what to do with himself when he isn't working. But if everything was fine, why was he not returning to work right away? Was something being kept secret? Let's take a closer look. Prince William's evolving role. Prince William has been loved by the British people for as long as most can remember. From the moment he was born, he was in the public eye. As a young man, he became known for his good looks and charm, often called a heart-throb, and one of the most desirable bachelors. Just like his father, Prince Charles, once got lots of attention, William did too. But William's charm was more polished and classy. The New York Times even compared him to movie star Leonardo DiCaprio, saying that while DiCaprio had a bad boy image, William came across as polite and well-mannered. Everything changed when William married Kate Middleton. People no longer saw him just as a charming prince. They saw a man settling into family life. He took on a more serious and dependable image, fitting perfectly into the role of husband and father. Over time, the public began to view him as someone down-to-earth and trustworthy. As William grew older, his role in the royal family changed, too. He started to step away from the traditional duties, like handing out awards or going to events. Instead, he focused on projects that could make a real difference in society. In 2016, he shared that one of his biggest goals was to help the royal family stay important and connected to the public over the next 20 years. This showed that he understood how much the world was changing, and that the royal family needed to change too. Since then, William has worked on issues that matter, like mental health, protecting the environment, and helping young people. Through it all, he's tried to bring the royal family closer to the people it serves. His popularity has spread beyond the UK. In 2011, Time magazine named him one of the world's most influential people, alongside his wife, Catherine. More recently, he's been rated the most popular royal, even more popular than some famous figures in the US. People often praise him for being friendly and serious about his work, and in 2024, he even made the Daily Telegraph's list of best-dressed celebrities, showing that people admire both his style and his values. The British monarchy has always stood for tradition and stability. But as the world changes, the monarchy has had to change too. This is especially clear with King Charles III and Prince William. They've both taken steps to help the royal family stay relevant today. King Charles became king during a time of fast social and technological change. He understands modern issues, especially the environment and mental health, and supports causes like the Prince's Trust. He tries to connect with people directly, showing empathy and a strong sense of duty. Prince William has followed the same path. He and Catherine have made mental health a top priority. Their campaign, Heads Together, tries to break the silence around mental health and encourage young people to talk about their struggles. By focusing on real problems in society, they've shown that the royal family still has an important role to play. Charles and William are trying to keep a balance. They honor the royal family's traditions while also making room for progress and inclusion. Their goal is to keep the heart of the monarchy alive while adjusting to what people need today. This willingness to grow and change could be what keeps the monarchy meaningful for future generations. When Queen Elizabeth II passed away, Charles became king. But he didn't just take the crown. He built on his long history of service. Since 1976, his Prince's Trust has helped young people struggling with school and jobs to find new paths. His work has covered everything from art to the environment. He was promoting organic farming and raising awareness about climate change long before these topics became popular. He's also shown deep respect for indigenous people, saying they have important wisdom about the land, community, and making peace with the past. In 2024, Charles faced a personal challenge. He was diagnosed with cancer. It was a shocking moment for the country, but what stood out was his courage and determination. Even while going through treatment, he kept doing his royal duties. His dedication to the role and to the people remained strong. And through it all, Queen Camilla stood by his side, showing how powerful family support can be during hard times. Now that Prince William is the Prince of Wales, he carries even more responsibility. But like his father, he's choosing a modern path. He continues to focus on important issues, especially mental health and the environment. His efforts to make mental health a normal and open topic have made a big difference. He wants everyone to feel supported when they're struggling. William's way of handling his royal duties is deeply connected to family life. He and Kate are a strong team, managing public roles while raising their children. They make sure their kids stay grounded and learn the values of kindness, responsibility, and service. Their relationship has helped make the royal family feel more human and relatable. They show that behind the titles and duties, they are a loving family just like many others. So, what does all this say about the future of the monarchy? Let's explore further. A king's battle, duty and illness. Fighting cancer is never easy. It isn't just a sickness that tires out the body. It also reaches deep into a person's spirit. It steals away strength, both physical and emotional, and brings a kind of exhaustion that can't be fixed with just a nap or a weekend of rest. For King Charles, this heavy tiredness comes at a time when being the monarch of the United Kingdom leaves almost no time to slow down or catch his breath. Even the most ordinary royal tasks, like shaking hands with ambassadors or attending ceremonies, can be long and tiring. They often involve hours of standing, smiling, talking, and doing the same things over and over again. For someone still in the middle of cancer treatment, even a simple appearance in public can feel like climbing a mountain. So when Charles had to cancel some events in late March, it wasn't a surprise. The palace said his doctors had advised it, mentioning temporary side effects from his ongoing treatment. They didn't share any more details, but the message was clear. His body needed rest. And yet Charles didn't stay away for long. Despite how drained he must have felt, the king quietly returned to his royal duties not long after. It's easy to forget that Charles is still fighting cancer. His return to public life last spring made it seem like everything was back to normal. He appeared at major events like the D-Day commemorations in France and the state opening of Parliament. He even planned a demanding 9-day tour to Australia and Samoa, though that trip had to be cancelled due to his illness. Behind closed doors, he stayed busy too, continuing his role as head of state by reviewing government papers and holding meetings with the Prime Minister. After a short hospital stay in March, Charles was back at work almost immediately. Just a few days later, he traveled to Rome with Queen Camilla for a 3-day state visit. His schedule was full, meetings with Italy's president and prime minister, becoming the first British monarch to speak to the Italian parliament, and visiting the city of Ravenna to honor the 80th anniversary of its World War II liberation. On April 9th, while celebrating 20 years of marriage with Camilla, the royal couple had a private meeting with the Pope. A visit so last minute it wasn't confirmed until that very morning. The royal calendar, as always, remains packed and unpredictable. Still, there's no sign that Charles plans to slow down. In fact, he seems more determined than ever to carry on, doing as much as his health will allow. After all, he waited a lifetime to become king. Royal commentator Ian Pelham Turner observed that now that Charles finally wears the crown, he's reluctant to take a step back unless absolutely necessary. He's following the example of his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II, who remained active deep into her 90s, even when her health was fading. At the same time, there's another big change happening behind the scenes, one that involves his son, Prince William. When Queen Elizabeth passed away, Charles became king, and William took on the title of Prince of Wales. That also meant inheriting responsibility for the Duchy of Cornwall, a huge estate that Charles had managed for over 50 years. The transition happened quickly, and suddenly, William found himself with a very grown-up job. This emotional handover was captured in an ITV documentary, Prince Charles, Inside the Duchy of Cornwall. In one touching moment, William talked about what it meant to take on the estate. His words were simple but meaningful. I've started to think about how I will inherit the duchy one day and what I'll do with it. I think it's really important, the family side of things. Charles was deeply moved by what his son said. When I saw it, I couldn't believe it, he admitted. It reduced me to tears. Hearing that from him made the last 50 years feel worthwhile. For Charles, this wasn't just about land or titles. It was about something much deeper. A moment of connection between father and son, and a quiet recognition that the next generation is ready to take over. Now Prince William is stepping into his new role, just as his father once did. But things are different this time. With King Charles's health uncertain, the pressure on William to prepare for the future is growing. He's not just learning the ropes anymore. He's stepping into the spotlight, getting ready for the moment when he may have to lead. Public opinion of King Charles has changed a lot in recent years. In 2018, only 46% of Britons supported him keeping the crown. Today, that number has risen to 62%. Still, the ups and downs in popularity, combined with his health challenges, have made it clear that the monarchy needs to be ready for what's next. William's growing involvement with the Duchy of Cornwall suggests that the royal family is already preparing for a smooth transition. His thoughtful words and steady presence hint that, whenever the time comes, he'll be ready to lead. As King Charles continues his quiet but brave battle with cancer, it feels more possible than ever that William's turn on the throne may arrive sooner than anyone expected. What do you think about the Buckingham Palace Guard's surprising revelation about King Charles's health condition? Let us know your answer in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.